Northern beekeepers, there are 4 ways that I'm able to outperform you every winter. The first way is I don't buy bees anymore from anybody. I breed my own queens, make my own new colonies every summer, and they are so much better quality than anything I've ever bought. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, I don't wrap my hives. I want to have the ability to check the size of my clusters every morning when I feel it's cold enough that they're threatened to be chilled. And these colonies here I just brought out a few days ago. These were inside for most of the winter. And here I got my LED flashlight and I go through. I don't see a lot of beekeepers doing this with a shim in the middle. That's something I learned from Better Bee. It's very important. That way you can see the cluster. You know, if you look at the top of a hive, you don't really know how big the cluster is. Okay, I know there's bees up there. See, there's bees right there. If I can get this. There's bees there. So I know there's the clusters there. But then I also can look here. Okay, I got bees out now. See, I got them pissed off. I can look there and I can see how big the cluster is. Okay, trust me. I can't hold a flashlight and a smartphone at the same time very well. So anyway, I've gone through already. I checked these, and then I had some that were, the temperature is supposed to be in the single digits overnight, and we didn't get that cold. It's only in the teens. So I had some colonies here that I put in the back of my truck last night, or last evening. I emptied out the back of my electrical truck. I knew it was going to be a little bit warmer in the garage overnight. There are 8 colonies in here. I put screens on them before I loaded them in here. And you see, they're just fine. I wasn't so much worried about the bees dying, but I'm worried about if they started brood. I didn't want the brood to get chilled and have them have a setback. So they were probably a few degrees warmer in the back of my truck overnight. And they will come back out before it gets warm. And then here, these colonies out here are the same size as these colonies here. Most of these colonies here have been outside all winter. And look, I don't wrap them. This right here is a colony that I had over there at the trees going into winter, and I told you guys I wasn't going to wrap that hive, but I did take it and move it over here. It's nice for them to have a wind block. You don't want them out in the wind, but you don't need to wrap a hive. So these colonies here are the same size as those out there. And see, I had a lot of extra powdered sugar, or not, it's not powdered sugar, it's granule sugar, kind of powdery, that I couldn't put in through the hole there. So I went ahead, and the bees were already up there. I emptied out my bucket and all of these hives. And these have a shim. And those right there, I took the shim out because I'm worried about them getting cold. But I'm going to be putting that shim back in for them to have better ventilation as soon as it warms up. So, okay, so that's the second way. I monitor the size of my colonies during the winter. And you guys aren't doing that. You're wrapping your hives and hoping you have something left the following spring. Okay, number 3. If I find a colony that is not big enough to handle the cold temperatures, I will bring it in. These right here in the window were down in the basement for a few weeks because I had too many colonies in here. They were getting too warm, and I wanted to cool this room off to keep these colonies from eating their honey. So I had to take these out before I cooled off the room. But now that it's warm enough outside here in a few days, I wanted these bees to take advantage of cleansing flights. So I bring them in to a warmer location. So that's number 3. And number 4, I do hive inspections. I just went through 5 colonies yesterday, and I found one colony that didn't have a queen. Actually 2, sorry. 2 colonies didn't have a queen. So I combined those colonies with other colonies. See, I got my my stand right here. Bring it in. There's just enough room here for me. I took off. I know how big these colonies are. I started with the smallest ones. I always start with the small ones because it might be an issue. and I set one there at a time, open it up, checked, see if there's a queen, no queen. If there's a queen, I left it alone, and it got the extra bees from the other colonies that didn't have queens. So that's number 4. So there's 4 things that I'm doing. I don't buy bees. I breed my own. I check the size of my clusters during the winter. Number 3, if they're not large enough to handle the cold temperatures, I bring them in. Number 4, I do hive inspections. Okay? 4 simple ways that I can outperform you guys every single winter.